Okay, so now we're going to look at some different types of solving equation examples that go a little beyond just the one-step and the two-step problems. Now, again, the goal is always the same. You're trying to isolate the variable, isolate one occurrence of the variable. Uh, but every problem is a little different, so we're just going to look at a bunch of different examples of things that could happen and how to deal with each scenario. So first up is variables on both sides. Variables on both sides, which means both sides of the equal sign, which means you want all your variable terms on one side and all your constant terms on the other. Now, usually we put, it doesn't matter what side you go to. Usually a lot of people like having the variables on the left. You could have the variables on the right, the constants on the left, constants on the right. It doesn't matter as long as you got variable terms on one side and you're moving all your other terms, your constant terms on the other side. So I'll go left side for this one. So I want all my variable terms on the left. So 3n is already on the left. The plus 1 is not a variable term, so I need to move it over to the right side. Whenever you're switching sides of an equation, and only when you're switching sides of an equation, you use the inverse operation. So on the left side, you'd have 1 minus 1, and that eliminates. Okay, subtract 1 on the left side, you have to do it to the right. Next up is the 7n that's on the right. We need to move to the left. So it's a positive 7n. So to get rid of a positive 7n, you'd have to subtract 7n, inverse operations. And you subtract it from the n term on the left. Okay. So that goes away. So what's left now? On the left side, you have 3n minus 7n. 3 minus 7 is negative 4n. On the right side, you have negative 5 minus 1. Okay, careful with the negatives. Negative 5 take away 1 is negative 6. So now you're down to a one-step equation. Negative 4 times n equals negative 6. Now careful, because when I was going over the quizzes, a lot of people were going plus 4 here. Okay. That's not an addition or subtraction. That's not a subtraction sign. This is a multiplication operation. Remember, it's negative 4 times n equals negative 6. So you're trying to get rid of the negative 4 times part. Okay? So you can't just add 4. You have to multiply by 4 or you have to divide by 4 rather, because this is a multiplication problem. So we're going to divide both sides by 4, by negative 4. Okay? And that goes away. So now you're left with just n equals, now negative 6 divided by negative 4, that's not going to go in evenly. The first thing we want to do though is take away the negative. Negative divided by negative is a positive. So you have the fraction 6 over 4. Now you always want to simplify your fractions to simplest form. And in this case, they're both even, so you can divide them both by 2. And you get 3 halves. So that's solving with variables on both sides. We did some of those already in class. Next up is we're going to look at some where you have to combine like terms first. Okay, and again, we also did some of these in class as well. Combine like terms first. Remember, the first thing we wrote down when we were solving equations is you want to simplify the left side of the equal sign and the right side of the equal sign as much as possible. Okay, so over here on this first problem, the left side's not simplified and the right side's not simplified. It's not as, small as we can make it. Okay. The left side's not simplified because you have like terms. You have a 10x and a negative 2x. Okay. Now one of the biggest mistakes students make in Algebra 1 is that they want to use inverse operations on the same side. Okay. Now again, usually if we want to switch sides, if we want to move this 2x, this minus 2x, to the right side of the equal sign, it's currently on the left. If you want to move it to the right, you would have to do plus 2x on both sides. Okay. But we're not ready to move it over yet. Okay. Because we haven't finished the first step, which is to simplify both sides of the equation as much as possible. We haven't done that yet. Now what you don't want to do is, since the 10x and the negative 2x are on the same side, you don't want to use inverse operations. You just want to combine like terms. So don't do plus 2x and plus 2x. You can't do that because you're changing the problem. You can't just add 2x's over here and 2x's over here on the same side of the equal sign. You're just adding 4x. Again, anything you do to one side has to be balanced on the other side. So you would have to add 2x and 2x over here, and that's not going to help us at all. So all we're doing here is combining like terms. It doesn't matter the order. Remember the commutative property. These are on the same side. You could rewrite this entire left side as 10x minus 2x plus 12. When it's written like this, it's a lot easier to see. All we have is 10x minus 2x. 10x minus 2x is 8x. So if it helps, rearrange the problem. You know your properties, so you know you could just rearrange addition and subtraction terms. Okay. You don't have to. If you could recognize that, all right, I got 10x and negative 2x, and I need to combine those like terms, 10x minus 2x is 8x. If you don't have to rearrange it, but if it helps, you can group all your x terms together, group all your constant terms together. Either way, you should end up with 8x plus 12 on the left side. On the right side, it's not as simplified as possible yet because we could distribute the 4. Remember, when you distribute, you're multiplying the coefficient 4 to every term inside the parentheses. Okay, so 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times 13 is 52. Okay. Remember, the sign to the left stays with that term. So it was 4 times positive 13. Okay, now it's just like the previous problem where we want to get all of our variables on one side. I'm going to move the x's to the left and the constants to the right. All right, now this time we're switching sides. The left side's as simplified as possible. The right side's as simplified as possible. So now we need to get all of our variables on one side. So now you use inverse operations. If you want to move 4x from the right side to the left side, you have to do minus 4x to both sides. And if you want to move the 12 from the left side to the right side, you're going to have to do minus 12 to both sides. Why? Because 12 minus 12 is 0. And 4x minus 4x is 0. So you've completely removed it from the side that it was on. So what's left? 8x minus 4x on the left is 4x. 8 minus 4 is 4. And on the right, 52 minus 12 is 40. Okay. Now it's a one-step equation. 4 times x equals 40. To get rid of the times, to get rid of the multiplication, you divide. We need the x by itself. It's currently being multiplied by 4, so we're going to divide by 4. Divide both sides by 4. So x equals 10. This one's a little longer. You got fractions, you have 2 distributions. Okay, just go piece by piece. Simplify the left side as much as you can. Simplify the right side as much as you can. So that includes distribution. That includes combining like terms. All right, so let's start by distributing the 2. Okay. Now you're not distributing the 2 to everything on the left side. You're only distributing the 2 to the parentheses, the grouping. Once the parentheses end, your distribution ends. So you're doing 2 times x, which is 2x, and 2 times negative 3, which is negative 6. Again, that 5x is not in the parentheses, so it does not get multiplied by 2. All right, on the right side. Now you could keep working on the left side, but I like to go left to right and then just step line by line. On the right side, you have a 1/3. Okay, you're going to distribute that. When you're multiplying fractions by whole numbers, you only multiply the top. So you're going to multiply the top of the fraction by the number you're multiplying by. So 1/3 times 12x is 1/3 times 12. So 1 times 12 is 12. The denominator stays the same. The x. Same thing with the 3. You're going to do top times 3. 1 times 3 is 3, divided by 3. And again, that distribution only goes until the parenthesis ends. So the 4 does not get multiplied by 1/3. Okay. All right, the left side has some cleaning up to do. The right side has some cleaning up to do. On the left side, combine like terms. Now again, like in the previous problems, these are on the same side. 2x and 5x are on the same side, so do not use inverse operations for that. Don't subtract 5. Just combine them. Combine like terms. 2x over here, 5x over here. How many total x's is that? 7. 7x. And then minus 6 has nothing to combine with. The right side has some simplifications we could make. Remember, fractions are just division, so 12 over 3 is 12 divided by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4x. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So we're just simplifying these fractions, and then the 4 is just there. Left side simplified. The right side still isn't. The right side has some like terms to combine. Okay. You have a 1 and you have a 4. Okay. Again, these are right next to each other. It just literally says 1 plus 4. So that's all you have to do. You don't have to subtract. You're not moving things around. You're just combining 1 and 4. Okay. 1 plus 4 is 5. Okay. So our simplified left side is 7x minus 6. Our simplified right side is 4x plus 5. Okay. Now we've got variables on both sides. Both sides are completely simplified. So we're going to get all of our x's to one side, all the constants to the other. Once again, I'm going to go to the right side with the constants and the left side with the variables. You don't have to. You could flip that around. It doesn't matter because of the symmetric property. All right, so a constant on the left is going to move to the right with the inverse operation. It's minus 6. We're going to go plus 6. Okay, that goes away. On the right side, we're going to move the variable term, the 4x, over by subtracting 4x. Again, anything you do to the one side, you have to do to the other. That has to balance out. 4x minus 4x is 0x. 0x is 0. 0 plus a number is identity. So that could just cross out. 7x minus 4x on the left side is 3x. And 5 plus 6 on the right side is 11. So we're going to get a fraction on this one. 3 times x equals 11. Divide both sides by 3. And you get x equals 11 thirds. So that's somewhere you have to combine like terms first. You have to simplify. Do as much as you can to each side and then switch the sides.